Welcome to episode 14 of Hanging Out with the Monkey, the official podcast of OddsMonkey, the #1 match betting service in the world. Today we're talking all things Ryder Cup, one of the most eagerly awaited sporting events in the calendar. Joining me today, as ever, is Ricky from OddsMonkey.
Hiya.
And Phil from TrickyBet.
Hi.
So guys, before we get started, Ryder Cup, a huge event, fantastic occasion in France this year. What we'd like to set out for everyone though is the format. We're used to the normal golfing tournaments being stroke play every week, etc. And there's the various tools on OddsMonkey we can use. But we just this is match play. It's player versus player, country v country. Every game, there's 30 matches throughout the few days. And it's one-on-one. Match play basically means that you're playing for every hole. So if you win the first hole, you go one up, etc. And you've got to try and get the better of your opponent. So your ideal scenario is you win 10 and 8, which means you've won the first 10 holes. That never happens, but it's one to look out for. What everyone needs to be aware of, if you're new to match betting or sport, this isn't your usual golfing tournament. So let's start looking at the offers. Plenty around, isn't there, this week, Rick? I think the bookies have certainly got a liking for the Ryder Cup, and why not? It's such a great event in my eyes, anyway. You're going to be looking at a few daily offers for us, Rick. What catches your eye out there? There's a lot of offers for us to look at, isn't there?
Yeah, it seems to be a lot for us to talk about today. We've got a direct link on the forum to summarise all the offers that we have, going from the pre-tournament through all the daily offers as well. But a few I've picked out that quite take a fancy to. You've got one for QuimBet where they are, if you're placing a £20 bet on any of the day's matches for USA or Europe to win, you can lay it in normal mode. And if they've lost the match before the 16th, you get a £20 free bet within 24 hours. So looking at previous years, I think 2 years ago, I think there was 25% of the matches, finished in that kind of scenario. So it's a decent kind of value bet there if you can get a relatively low qualifying loss in the matches for that. Another one I've been looking at is the the Betway offer, where if you place 3 £10 bets in one day, you get a £10 free bet for the following day. So you should be able to lock into a little bit of a profit each day on that. And another one.
We'll tell them there's a lot. You have more in the first 2 days. We've got morning sessions, we've got afternoon sessions. There's 4 games in each bit. You have the 4 balls on the morning, which is a ball each, and foursomes. There's a lot of action going on, isn't there? So people have to be aware. There's slight changes in the event as we're going on. So people need to keep an eye on it. Don't need to be aware of what's going on.
Yeah, you've got to split up into a starting session of 4 matches, and then they'll reveal the next pairings for the afternoon. But yeah, it's I think it's eight matches per day over the first 2 days, and then the 12 singles. Is it something like that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's plenty of matches to get involved with on these daily offers. So just one I hadn't mentioned was the Betfred are doing their version of the 2 up or the 14 up called the 3 up for the golf, which hopefully should pay dividends again if you can get in for low qualifying losses. That's if you've backed a pairing or on the singles match and they go 3 up, then they'll pay you out the winner in cash straight away. And we've got tools on site, an early payout calculator, which we can use to lock in a profit again on that. So it should be quite a profitable one across the tournament there. Yeah,
it's one to watch out for. Obviously, it's such a high quality event. We've got all the top 10 players in the world are playing the Ryder Cup for the first time here. So there's some big names here, the likes of Rory and Tiger. So plenty to be getting the teeth into, especially that 3s up offer. I think that's a cracking one. It's very similar to 2s up, isn't it? What we used to do on a weekly thing with the NFL and the Premier League. So I think that's a great one to look out for. And Phil, a lot of pre-tournament offers as well. People need to keep a close eye. What's caught your eye on that one?
Yeah, so there's still time for pre-tournament offers. Obviously, it doesn't start until tomorrow. So if we're looking at this today, there's still a few to get on. Obviously, just bear in mind some of these offers are going to tie your money up all weekend. So if you want, if you've only got a limited bank and you want to do some football bets, bear that in mind. So, the first offer that stands out to me is the Ladbrokes offer. They're giving everybody a £1 free bet. That's super generous, obviously. Bruce Betting doing quite a good one. Bruce Betting do quite a lot of offers. They're not always great value, but this one's pretty good. So you're going to place a £20 bet on the top combined point scorer, and the next day you'll get a £10 free bet to use on any Ryder Cup market.
We should say for the combined point scorer, for those listening, it's the point score is a huge market. Normally you would back either the American or European one, but with the combined one, the bookies have been a bit clever there. You've got to try and pick out the person who's going to score most of the weekend. So what we would say is try and look out for the players who are going to be playing the most games, isn't it, guys? The likes of the Spieths and the Reeds and the Roses and the Stensons. The fact is they're probably going to play 5 matches over the weekend, whereas someone like a Ty Hatton is probably going to play only 2 or 3. So that's what to look out for with these guys. Don't just dive in there. I'll have a look to see who's going to be who's going to be playing the most games, because the chances are they're going to be the top scorers.
Yeah, that's good advice, and it's particularly relevant for the next offer from William Hill, which is again on the top combined point scorer market. And this time you get a £5 free bet every time your player wins a match. So the more matches they're playing in, the more free bets you've got a chance of getting. And Coral are doing an easy one. Bet £10 pre-tournament, get a £5 free bet once the tournament gets started. But there's a few others on the forum thread there if you want to have a look through.
Yeah, and obviously so many markets to look forward to. It really is some great in-play ones here as well. So plenty of offers to come throughout the weekend. As we say, keep a look on the forum for the daily offers. Prediction time, guys. I know a lot of people listen to the podcast. We are doing quite well at the start of the year. So let's try and pick out a few winners here. The overall market, arguably there's no value. The Americans are odds on across the board generally. Team Europe, I think you can get 5 to 4, it's probably 4 to 5 the Americans. Arguably the most highly contested Ryder Cup of all time, this one. It's the most highest calibre of player. Rick, are you staying loyal, going blue? Are you going for the big money, or do you think the Americans are going to be too strong?
On the face of it, I mean, the Americans have probably got the better talented, shall we say, team, but over in Europe, I've not got the record here, but they've not won in Europe for quite a while now.
25 years, 1993, I think it was, at the Belfry. That's the last time the Americans won. So they do not travel well, the Americans. I
still think there's a bit of value in Europe. I think the best price at the minute is 7 to 5. So I still think there's a bit of value there, and that's where my outright money would be going. I think we're more accurate off the tee, whereas the Americans are bigger hitters. But I think the course is probably a bit more aligned to the European style, and the 7 to 5, I still think there's some value in that. So that's where my money would be.
Yeah, you have to agree with that. And people have to bear in mind, because Europe on home soil, you do have an advantage because they're allowed to set the course up. A bit similar to how it happens in cricket. If you're on home soil, they set the pitch up. Very similar here. So it'll be very thick rough. It'll be more accuracy, which is very different to how the Americans play it over there. Phil, Europe or America? Red or blue?
I think the US too strong. They've got too many good players. I was actually looking at the top American market. It's quite hard to pick, but Tiger Woods is good odds. Obviously, he's coming into it on the back of a win. You can get 7 to 1 on Tiger to be the top American. So that was what I was looking at.
He's only ever won one Ryder Cup in 7 appearances, Rick. Would he be who out of all the players? Is anyone? The top point scorer is a great market. Gets a lot of interest. Who will get your vote for the weekend? Otherwise,
yeah, going back to looking at people playing the 5 matches. So having already gone for Europe, you've got to be looking at probably Rose or McIlroy, who are probably much guaranteed to get the 5 matches in. So Justin Rose, 11 to 1 for the top combined scorer, looks a decent shout. And also just for the top British, I think he was 2 to 1 for the top Englishman, which I think's a decent price for him as well.
Yeah, very, very good. I have to admit, I think America are almost unbackable at the current price. They do have a better team, but they don't travel well. They've got Woods and Mickelson in there who aren't great Ryder Cup players, so I think that brings them down a bit. So yeah, I'd go with Europe, but obviously this is a very flexible tournament, very fluid tournament. The odds can change. If someone wins a session 4-0, everyone needs to be aware you could get some real value because the bookmakers will be moving this price very quickly. So that's one to look out for. For me, Europe at the moment, and the player, I like Molinari. I think he'll get all 5 games. And the way he puts, I think he's got 7-1 for top European scorer. I think he's very good value there for that. And so, yeah, that brings us to end here. But I'd say, again, we'd just like to reiterate about the forum. There's actually a thread for the Ryder Cup, isn't there, Rick, at the moment for this? And there's always people getting questions answered all over the shop. I know you and your support team are going to be in there answering all weekend. And we would encourage people to go in there. There'll be a link to the podcast in there as well. But it's a great thread for the Ryder Cup in there, isn't it? Any specific questions are getting answered in there?
Yeah, as I say, we've got a full summary of all the current offers that are available, with then direct links to each discussion for the particular offers. But we'll drop a link of the podcast in as well. I say we're always around from 9 till 9 to answer any queries that any members have.
Great. Well, best of luck to everyone having a go on the Ryder Cup this weekend, and we'll be back with another podcast. Thanks for joining us.